I hope everyone else is too. I know I'm the guy who's standing between you and your second breakfast, so I hope to present you some facts, but also, even if I'm from Germany and making jokes is not our specialty, so to say, I'm trying to be somewhat entertaining. Okay. Yeah. What are the components of a good presentation? Like a quote from someone. What do you know? What are good elements of a presentation? What pictures do you need to show? Some ideas. There's something to win. Nobody. Okay, good. I keep the win for myself, or maybe I ask a second question later on when you're a little bit more warmed up. One definitely you have to put in, need to put into every presentation is a quote of a famous person. This is David Ogilvy, guy from the States, worked in advertising in the 50s and 60s, and that's the basis for our work. What people tell you and what they do are two different things. And if you do market research, most of the time you ask people what they're going to do, and then you hope that what they say is true, but quite often it isn't. We use brain research and I get data into how we actually do that, but it works quite well. A study has been done in America about pop songs, what pop songs will be successful. People put rate on a star from 1 to 5 with their fingers, while a brain scan was being performed while they were listening to the songs. And the results of the brain scan were 50 times more predictive than the actual explicit answer. Or potato chips, a study we did in Turkey, a price increase by 0.25 Turkish lira. How much will that change in sales? Yes, it will go down, but by how much? We predicted up to 97% the correct sales figure in the market. Another example, not too far away from here, from the Baltic Sea, a holiday resort. They wanted to balance their pricing between the summer season and the off season. And they did that, and from one year to another, and this is a small resort, they increased revenues by 1 million. And if you think about it, increase in revenue also means direct profit, since they didn't have to hire any additional people. There are hardly any variable costs that increased. That was straight profit. Or lady shoes, one of a very fun study. We showed people different shoes, and then we looked how they performed in the store, and we could predict with around 80% accuracy which of the shoes will actually be a hit and which will be a flop. And if you have said this, you could have won something. What needs to be in every presentation? A chart with lots of logos on it, from your customers, and of course that's in here too. In total, we have now about 55,000 brain scans we performed in the last 10 years, and so we are able today to predict very well from brain scans what people do and how they will behave. So back to David Ogilvy. Now we learned that people don't say, don't do what they say, but why is that actually? And now the second question, maybe someone answers. It's a number between 0 and 100. You have to say you have conscious decisions and subconscious decisions. What do you think? How many percent of your decisions, of your daily decisions, are subconscious? 10, 20, 30? Who has an idea? 80. 80? 90? 90? I don't say it has to be higher or lower, just
98.
Who said 98? Back there? Excellent. It's not 100% the correct answer, but it's really close by. I'm from Bonn. That's you get it later. I'm from Bonn, Haribo is from Bonn, so yeah, it's actually about 95. We got something on the left here, I call it the autopilot. Many things that you do every single day are done by this autopilot, and it's a great tool. It doesn't cost you a lot of energy, it works automatic, and it's very accurate. Things like, why am I walking on this side? Do I have another cup of coffee? Do I shift from the right to the left on my seat? All subconscious decisions. The right side, that's a lot of effort. Calculating like something like 25 times 7. That's a lot of energy, and the brain doesn't like to use energy. The problem is the left side makes so many decisions, I can't ask the left side. I can't ask the subconscious, what are you going to do? And that's why we use different tools, and here's another thing for every presentation, the picture of the iceberg, and the story usually is, well, that's 10%, 90% below, but for us the story is, how do those 90% actually look like? We don't know that. Everyone knows about the 90%, but how do they look like? And we use special equipment to take this part of the iceberg. for example, an fMRI. Well, that's a brain scanner basically that looks at which parts of the brain are active by measuring blood flow in the brain. And when we do that, something like that comes out, like this comes out. This is a spider diagram here on the right side. You see at the top positive emotions, desire, lust, trust. Here at the bottom, negative emotions like disgust or anger. On the left side, things like attention, novelty. And on the right side, things that describe how personal involved something is. And you see here three diagrams from 3 different types of advertisement. The blue one is what we called EFFIs. Those are very effective commercials, effective in terms of sales. You see on the positive side at the top, the blue one is very strong, and the negative ones at the bottom, they're very little. And this relation between positive and negative emotion has a direct correlation to sales figures. Then we have one, the green one. We call them the golden lions, like from the Cannes Lions. Those are often very funny commercials you might forward to your friends. Those are commercials that has a lot to do with brand value, because they reach the consumer on a personal level. And the last one, the red one, those are the annoying ads. And if you think for a second about annoying ads, I'm pretty sure everyone can up with some annoying ads. Those are the ones that are really strong on the negative side, but not so strong on the positive side. So we can do that for commercials, and of course we can do it for beer. Market researchers love doing studies with beer for some reason. This is something we did about Heineken. You see the old bottle design and the new bottle design, and the main difference there on the left is if you see those 2 positive emotions, lust and trust, the new design is way stronger there. So what does it mean? It says, for one, I know the product, I can have confidence that it's a high quality product and it will taste, but also lust. I mean, beer drinking is about pleasure, and that's something you can do before you actually go into the market, and things like that you can't measure by asking people. Different tool, this is called an EEG, an electroencephalogram. It measures electrical activity in the brain, and there are different things we can measure with that. One is memory encoding. Memory encoding basically means is what you show, will people remember it if you ask them a week later. Second one is emotional balance. Emotional balance is what the neuroscientists call positive and negative emotions. That's the balance between plus and minus. Attention is pretty clear, and activation means the intensity of the emotion. So emotional balance, direction, positive, negative, activation, how strong. And in the study I show later today, we look at emotional balance and attention, like positive, negative, and attention. So eye tracking, I go very quick through that because I've seen many presentations this morning about eye tracking. I can assume most of you know what it is. The technology has developed quite rapidly over the last years. We used to have very heavy cameras or things we could only do in the lab. Now we can do it in store. We can combine it with EEG. We can do it in movie vehicles, in basically every situation you can imagine. What comes out is you show people an ad, and you get a heat map. The areas with red and yellow are the areas where people look at, and the other one where they don't. I didn't intend that to be funny, but it seems you must expect it to be why I find that it's funny. But maybe because people actually look at their face, but I don't know what the study group looked like for this ad. So, and we can do that with moving objects as well. That's something we just basically did just for this event. We showed different package designs from pizza, from orange juice, also a cigarette package at the bottom left, because we are curious about how very disgusting pictures, what reaction we get there. And this is then that eye tracking that's not so new, but what we do is we combine that eye tracking with the EEG, which means we can see where people look at and do they have positive or negative emotions, and are they actually paying attention. And then we use that to optimize package design. We can use that to optimize advertisement. We can use that to optimize in-store communication. And for advertising, it would look like something like this. Coming from the greater Stuttgart area, of course, I need to have a Mercedes in here. You see the emotional balance, attention. In this particular study, we also looked at skin temperature and heart rate, and we get the emotional balance by the millisecond, which is important for advertisement, because when you have 30 seconds, you want to make sure that those 30 seconds, which are really expensive on TV, are the right ones. Emotional intensity, stress using metrics, and which emotional reaction are being triggered when. So, now package design case study, and I'm almost done. So pizza, we're getting closer to the food break. We looked at pizza designs. First, we looked at the emotional balance, positive, negative emotions, and you see quite some differences. What surprised us was on the very left side, Dr. Oetker, same brand, almost identical package design. It's just different pizza type in the package, but significant difference when it comes to positive or negative emotion. Attention was very different. This one brand stuck out, which is, if you've seen many of these studies, it's not so surprising. You got a bright yellow color, white on red. Those flashy colors usually something that attracts a lot of attention in the brain. But if you put the two together, you see it gets a lot of attention, but the emotional balance, is really low. So people notice it, but they say, well, I'm not sure about it if you like it. Dr. Oetker, we have one which is very balanced, but also one which gets a lot of attention, but only little emotional balance. And of course, you have to consider we are comparing different brands here. Usually if you do package design, you would consider one brand and different package design. So here, of course, the brand name does have some impact. Yogurt. Second product type we tested for this, and again we have first the emotional balance. I hope I pronounced that correct. The blue and the red quark. Excuse my Norwegian. You see, there is a very little difference in terms of emotional balance, which is not that surprising. If you look at the package, they look very, very similar. The two next to it, the zero orange and purple, yes, we do have the very similar package design, but a very bright color on the left and a different color on the right, where you see just by changing color how much impact that can have. And when it comes to attention, we see a similar thing. The two the quarks here in the middle, very, very similar, hardly any difference, but those two are quite different. So let's put the two together, and then you can go ahead and say, okay, which one is, where do I have to maybe work on getting the attention higher? Where do I need to work to get more positive emotions? So that's what I have today. And I have to, of course, finish with a quote. If it doesn't sell, it's not creative, because whatever we do is, if you do flashy advertising, if it doesn't perform at the point of sale, then it doesn't work. Thank you.
Okay, shall we give them one big applause one more time? And then, something, small breakfast outside. Thank you for coming. I think that's been really interesting. And guys, flowers.